We got you now, man. It's pretty cool. Jose, it seems like you do a lot of traveling, man. Do you think it's a lot of traveling? Like it seems like you're always going somewhere.
Most of my traveling I do is to visit it's actually split between two things. So I visit friends and family a lot, right? So especially towards the later half of the year, I go mainly like back to Arizona. I go visit my mom. I go visit my friend. Sometimes I visit like my sister. Sometimes, family comes to visit me. And then also for traveling, I pretty much only ever travel for one thing outside of family visits,
Yeah.
and that has related to gaming basically. So in I either go to gaming competitions to
Yeah.
compete if there's a tournament outside of the state, or there is a gaming convention that I want to go to and just hang out with friends for stuff.
Awesome. Now that was part of the reason why we got you on the pod. I'd love to talk about the gaming competitions and conventions you go to. We'll get to that. Where do you currently live? Let's bring the followers in. What state are you in?
Currently in the great state of Texas, big old Texas.
Where in Texas?
Austin, Texas.
Oh, hey, oh, well, local guy. It's cool. But you did say something there. Let's get to what I always love to find out. Jose Capestany, where the heck are you from?
So I am from originally born and grew up in the great island of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Moved to Florida. Well, I didn't move. My mom moved, and being a child, I kind of had to go with her. So was in Florida starting around 6 years old. Left in middle school to go to Arizona, and then started 8th grade in Arizona, and then from there I just stayed in Arizona. Graduated high school, went to college, graduated, and then I moved to Texas for work.
Jose, I've always had this rule. If a person has lived in another country, spoken another language, if you can get them to America before the age of 12, you won't hear any accent. I don't hear an accent. Sorry for my Puerto Rican hermanos. They're going to be mad at me here. It's like, we don't have an accent. Well, some people do. Do you think that? Do you agree with that since you came to the continental United States so early?
I do think so. Like my older brother, right? He's like a year and a half, 2 years older than me. So when we moved to Florida, he had.
Is there anything better than a trip getting ready?
Nope.
For a long journey where our podcast released a new app and searching for a fade fiend. New fixation. Giving this a subscribe is the same sensation. Started with the day ones. They gave us fuel to support the season. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here for a reason. Notification bells, text some friends, all to let you know. Check your Bluetooth, connect, talking with Donato.
Welcome in, everyone. Episode 178, Up, and Jose, with our guest, Jose Capestany. Jose, man, this has been a long time coming. I want to start with a little bit of drama. I know I've texted you or emailed you before to get you on. You're a little too busy, man. I think you're big timing me. Was that intentional?
So was it intentional? I just forgot about it. I went somewhere, went on a trip, and it just slipped my mind. And then when I come back from the trip, I just forgot to reach back out to you to come on the show again. So
no problem. We will hold that against you. See, you thought I was going to take the high road. No, I'm not. I hold grudges. But hey, we got you now, man. It's pretty cool. Jose, it seems like you do a lot of traveling, man. Do you think it's a lot of traveling? Like it seems like you're always going somewhere.
Most of my traveling I do is to visit it's actually split between two things. So I visit friends and family a lot, right? So especially towards the later half of the year, I go mainly back to Arizona. I go visit my mom. I go visit my friend. Sometimes I visit my sister. Sometimes, family comes to visit me. And then also for traveling, I pretty much only ever travel for one thing outside of, family visits.
Yeah.
And that has related to gaming basically. So in I either go to gaming competitions to compete
Yeah.
if there's a tournament outside of the state, or there is a gaming convention that I want to go to and just hang out with friends for stuff.
Awesome. Now that was part of the reason why we got you on the pod. I'd love to talk about the gaming competitions and conventions you go to. We'll get to that. Where do you currently live? Let's bring the followers in. What state are you in?
Currently in the great state of Texas, big old Texas.
Where in Texas?
Austin, Texas.
Oh, hey, oh, well, local guy. It's cool. But you did say something there. Let's get to what I always love to find out. Jose Capestany, where the heck are you from?
So I am from originally born and grew up in the great island of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Moved to Florida. Well, I didn't move. My mom moved, and being a child, I kind of had to go with her. So was in Florida starting around 6 years old. Left in middle school to go to Arizona, and then started 8th grade in Arizona, and then from there I just stayed in Arizona. Graduated high school, went to college. Graduated, and then I moved to Texas for work.
Jose, I've always had this rule. If a person has lived in another country, spoken another language, if you can get them to America before the age of 12, you won't hear any accent. I don't hear an accent. Sorry for my Puerto Rican hermanos. They're going to be mad at me here. It's like, we don't have an accent. Well, some people do. Do you think that? Do you agree with that since you came to the continental United States so early?
I do think so. Like my older brother, right? He's like a year and a half, 2 years older than me. So when we moved to Florida, he had probably a little more prominent an accent.
Yeah.
He still sounds fine now, but like when he starts speaking Spanish or quickly, his comes out more. And for me, I don't really have that accent as much. My mom has it for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me something about Puerto Rico. Do you fashion yourself? Are you a beach boy, coastal, or I know like inland, there's some jungle I've always heard about. So are you a little small pueblo, I think it's called, little village? Like what type of Puerto Rican love do you have?
Let's see here. I was born in San Juan, but that was just a hospital. I grew up in Guaynabo, and there, I'm trying to think. I wouldn't call it a city. It's kind of like a small town, but it's close to San Juan, so it's like, it's definitely not the jungle. So like the inside or the center of Puerto Rico, that's more of your small towns and jungle. But anything along the coast or really, close to the coast of the island, they're just like regular cities. Yeah.
I normally get to this later, but now I got to know, since you got family ties, you've been there, where are you going to retire at? You going to go back to Puerto Rico, stay continental, some other country?
Based on where I've been so far, I love Puerto Rico. I do, but it is too hot, too humid. I'm in Texas right now, and it's still too hot, too humid for me. But Austin, I love Austin. But right now, it's sort of between two places. Either Flagstaff, Arizona. I went to college there, right? Northern Arizona University, go Lumberjacks. Hey. And that place is awesome. I loved it. And then if I don't retire in Flagstaff, it would either be Austin, Texas. No other place in Texas. It had to be specifically Austin. So either Austin or Flagstaff. Those are my two locations for out. Would love to spend, the rest of my life.
That's we got to dig on that one a little bit here. I'm so confused, Jose. Bro, didn't you say is it true that you guys get a little snow in Flagstaff and y'all don't get no snow in Austin? How can you be that flexible? You're going to be okay with snow?
Well, you see, I am not an outdoors person. So the snow is something I look out in the window, right? If I even look out at the window at all, right? And the same thing in Austin, right? So what I like about both those places is two things: just the people that I know that are currently there, and the things to do that are there, right? And that's really my main criteria.
We going more into that. Sorry, I'm a little excited. I might have cut you a little bit there. Bro, a lot of people don't know about Flagstaff. I know a few things. You and I have off air, we've had those conversations. Come on, Jose. For the people that know nothing about Flagstaff, tell me something to do. Tell me something you like, because they know nothing. I guarantee it.
All right. So Flagstaff has a lot of cool things. Number one, Snow Bowl is there. So if you've never been skiing or snowboarding or whatever, there is a dedicated place that's actually really nice. Like as soon as the first snowfall hits, pretty much everyone from the state of Arizona and nearby just kind of drives up to Flagstaff to snow. There's a bunch of historical landmarks. It's right on Route 66, like the actual Route 66. So if you're into like road tripping, it's pretty close to the Grand Canyon. It's pretty close to Las Vegas.
Hey.
It's pretty. There's a lot of like outdoors places if you're into that. But for me, there is a lot of friends that live in the area, and there are also places to hang out. The university's there if you want to go to college when you're retired. I don't know. And it's close to Sedona. It's close to just a bunch of places.
Yeah. Okay, help me, and you could look at me ignorantly if you choose to, but come on, bro, it's Arizona. All these people you keep referring to, all your friends are old senior citizens, right? Don't they all go to Arizona to retire? You hanging out with a bunch of golden girls?
No, it's just when I was in college, I made friends with a lot of people, both other college students and people who have lived in Flagstaff for a long time. And like these people that have lived in Flagstaff a long time, they're not young. Hopefully they're not hearing this because they know who I'd be talking about. And every time I visit, they're like, hey, let's go visit a friend of ours. And they're like, okay. And turns out their friend of theirs owns a popular bagel place on a popular street or a restaurant. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, they're friends of ours. I was there when they first built this. I was like, okay, yeah. Tried something new, meet new people. It's also just beautiful. Just a beautiful area.
Man, you're giving me so much, Jose. Like I'm all over the place. I normally kind of go with like in my mind, there's some things I want to hit. Sometimes I jot some things down. Let's go back to all right, let's talk about college. We don't go back to your growing up. But did you say you went to school within let's say close proximity to Vegas? Okay, 4 years there. How many times did you go to Vegas while you were in college?
I went to Vegas. I didn't really go a lot during my freshman or sophomore years, mainly because I wasn't 21. But I went a few times junior and senior year, maybe like 2 or 3 times an academic year. So usually it'd be like sometime during the winter break, spring break, and maybe usually there was one other weekend that was long and they're like, hey, let's go to Vegas. And we're like, oh, cool, let's hang out. And it's like a 4-hour drive. So it's like, it's pretty close. And then Vegas, also very fun.
Okay, what do you do in Vegas? Are you a gambler?
I mean, I did gamble, but it's not like to me, it's like the gambling is the fun part. So I brought with me, like, I am going to start with like $100, $200, right? And that is my gambling money. If I lose 200, that's it. I stop. If I make more, I keep going.
Yeah.
Drinks, you just find a nice craps table or whatever, and they just give you free drinks. And craps, if you've never played craps, it's like a very slow game. It's very hard to lose all your money. It's also very hard to make a lot of money very quickly. But it spends the time really quickly. Or you can spend time there for a long amount of time and still have money, and it's just a sweet free drinks hanging out with people.
Okay. You're not a gambler, but that's okay. You're not. I talk about, man, I seem to talk about Vegas a lot. And I do see sometimes people are a little sheepish about it because who wants to look like a degenerate gambler? But yeah, when you're like 100 or 200, you ain't a gambler.
Not
And I'm
really.
the same way. I I almost do this. I'm generally, I think I'm mostly in like collar shirts. But I'll start with like my money. So I'll start with the $200. Anything I win, Jose, I put in this pocket, in the shirt pocket. And then at any moment that I make back what I started with. So let's say I start with 200. If I win and I got 200, that goes in like my front pocket. And I walk out of here with that. And that means the 200 or 220 that I got left, that's just fun money. And I could get a little risky, I get crazy, which means, I mean, maybe I am a gambler. That just means that I'm not as wild and crazy. So I like your style. I like what you're doing there. I'm so curious to hear then when you're playing craps, and I don't play craps. And if you're there for a long time, do you get to do people kind of do a little cross table conversation since you're there for so long? Sounds like it's a long game from your description.
So craps is a game where someone is the shooter and they roll dice, and you make bets on what the number of the dice they roll, right?
Right.
However, like you don't have to make a bet on every dice, and you're probably going to make as much as you lose. You know, the house of which has an edge, right? So you're probably going to lose a little more. But yeah, you do end up talking to people, and that's why I like the more social games like craps and blackjack, because you're talking with the other players on the table, but you're not betting against them, right?
Yeah.
So it's always fun, when someone is the shooter and they're on a hot streak and they're all and he just keeps going and going and going and more excited, and he just gets the energy up. Same thing with with the blackjack. Like if everyone on the table wins, it's a good feeling. And the dealer for blackjack and I don't know what they call it for craps, the person who manages the dice, like they don't want you to lose. They're happy when the table is winning, because it means they get more tips. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you went exactly where I wanted to go with that. So thank you. We got a little synergy working here, because you always see it on TV, the craps table. They rarely show blackjack. So it makes me think, it always makes all of us think, again, TV, movies, they influence us. They're very influential. We always think, oh, Jose's on a hot streak. He's like, hey, girl, blow those. Hey, dude, watch this. And like it's always so social. And so I was just kind of curious, but I think you helped us with that.
Yeah, it's definitely a very social game.
All right. Then I got to try this then. I'm going to have to try, especially because it sounds like, I don't know if I'm good at rolling dice, but I guess I'll be good at guessing if they're going to hit. You said sometimes I don't have to bet. You just gave me a new game, man. Thanks a lot. Let's go back to you growing up. It sounds like you got some brothers and sisters, so you're not an only kid. Where do you fall in the list of the kids?
I am middle child, straight middle child.
Yo, I'm a mid kid. Hey, check you out. Cool guys. I knew there was something about you. That's why we got you on right now. So very curious then. I think you said there's like a brother that's a year and a half away from you. Is that older or younger?
Older. My younger brother, he is 18 now. He's graduating high school next week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so he's a lot younger than you. So then you're going through high school with sorry, you said younger brother. So that's the older brother. You're going through high school with an older brother. Yeah. Were you Jose by himself, or were you older brother's little brother and you were stuck in that shadow? What did that look like?
Not really. We were both very different, and and based on the academic calendar, even though he was only like a year and a half older than me, he was 2 grades ahead of me, right?
Oh, yeah.
And even though we both have the same name, we didn't really hang around in like the same like social circles. Like, I am Jose. His name is also Jose.
Oh, wait a minute. What? Let's talk to Mama Capestany. What happened there? There's got to be a story.
She really likes the name Jose, and she was like this close to like naming my younger brother also Jose.
Oh my God.
I think if she can go back and change what she named him, she would.
All right. Well, okay. So what did the younger brother end up with then?
His name is Enon. So
Okay. All right.
something unrelated.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Whole different
me and my
direction.
older brother were both named Jose.
I'm so curious. When you were in high school, did you get voted anything? Were you most likely to end up in Vegas? Like what were you known for?
Let's see here. There were two things I did in high school that were like sort of my defining, like people know me from. So the first one was I did junior ROTC.
Oh,
I did that all 4 years. I started it because my freshman year, someone told me that if you do 2 years of JROTC, you don't have to take PE. And I didn't like PE. So I was like, I'll just do that instead. So immediately I went to the counselor's office and be like, hey, take me out of PE. I want to go do JROTC instead. And that sort of just kickstarted probably my entire military career from there because I didn't want to take PE.
yeah.
And then the other thing I did was I did the engineering sort of like curriculum track they had at the high school. I did 4 years of those. So I had my JROTC circle and I had my engineering circle, and they did not overlap at all because, for some reason.
Oh, so then this is great. I don't ask everyone this question, but I gotta ask you. Bear with me here. Senior year, maybe you brown bag it, but just again, bear with me. You're in the lunch line. Lunch dude with the hairnet, cigarette hanging out. It's not lit, but it's still hanging there. He goes, schlop, gives you some chili. You get your tray, you walk out. What table are you sitting at?
I sat with the JROTC folks because in our high school, there was a hallway where the JROTC classrooms were, and they were like on the opposite side of the other classrooms.
Yeah.
And this hallway had a lounge for cadets. So I
Ooh.
would just go and hang out there or in the JROTC instructor's office. And so that's pretty much where I hung out with, lunch pretty much my 4 years, with just the JROTC hallway cadet lounge area.
4 years of junior ROTC. I bet you can sing some mighty fine cadence, huh? You were you good at that?
I could. I won't, but I could.
I wasn't gonna ask. What was your favorite cadence though? Favorite marching, and then I don't know if y'all did a lot of running cadences, but what's your favorite?
We didn't do a lot of the PT ones because we did like PT like on Fridays. That was like our sports day. It's fun. Regular cadence though, I think the first time I heard a yellow bird was very interesting.
Yeah.
Did not end well for the bird.
Did you get the PG version or the R-rated version, the graphic?
It really depended on who was singing it at the time. Some people were more brave than others, so it really just depends on who did it. I generally didn't call cadences because I was on staff, so I was just doing whatever high schoolers do.
Big dog, you got people for that. It's cool, bro. You were running things. That's awesome. All right, so what about it? So were there any sports, any activities that swayed you? Arizona, I don't even know what's big there. I don't know if I feel like that's got to be a baseball state. I don't know.
Arizona, I'm trying to think. I mean, football was a big one.
Oh.
So was, I'm trying to think. Like in our high school, really the biggest sport was football and women's soccer. They were like that was the ones that were like we were just good at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't do any of those sports. I did JROTC sports instead, which aren't your traditional sports.
Oh, like some ruck marches? You got a rucksack on and
so JROTC sports, I don't know if you can consider one of them a sport, but one of them is orienteering, which is land navigation.
Yeah.
There are JROTC orienteering meets. I was on that all 4 years. I was actually very good at it. Then they have your like drill teams. So when you see, cadets go around the country competing in drill competitions. And then the other one wasn't really a sport, but it was classified, in the school system as like a sport, was a Cyber Patriot, which is like a cybersecurity defense competition.
Oh.
So those were fun too.
I've seen one of those junior ROTC national competitions. I went to one in Daytona Beach. I believe they were doing it maybe when you were in school. I think the national has been Daytona Beach for a while. Were you good at that, like flipping a rifle and like maybe throwing it up and catching it? Or
I could do a few tricks. I was not a good person on the team. I don't think I did I don't think I ended up doing most of the armed drill. I think what I ended up doing was a lot of the unarmed drill, which is like, without the rifle.
Yeah.
Because I was not the best. There were some other cadets on the team that they could definitely do a bunch of cool tricks. I was not one of them.
Oh, man, I don't know how they have the bravery to throw that rifle over your head like that. And but I've seen the competitions and man, incredible. But again, that's like the best in the nation that I'm seeing there from every state. So I'm a little awestruck from the times that I've been there. I think I've been to a couple. All right, so let's fast forward. So you get to college. Before we get into more of that, lumberjacks, man, I have never seen that. Like and then it's like Arizona. Y'all got a lot of forests in Arizona up in there in Flagstaff. Lumberjacks, you got to help us with that.
Yes. So we're called the Lumberjacks because Flagstaff is in the largest continuous pine forest in the United States.
Yo, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So northern Arizona, once you get up, it's basically so high up. It's basically just the forest up in the mountains.
Yeah.
So we're the Lumberjacks, third best state university in the state of Arizona. There are only 3, but we're there. And it's funny because it's like you compare NAU to like the other 2 state schools, which is Arizona State and University of Arizona. Yeah. You're like, oh, NAU's small and all that stuff. But it's not a fair comparison because University of Arizona and Arizona State are huge universities.
Yeah.
So we're like the size of probably other states' largest public university.
Yeah.
But because we have to contend with those 2, it's like,
they're national draws.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know why you're compared to them. I mean, there's levels to this.
Yeah.
National draws. Like you're getting, I mean, I followed them back in the day. I'm going to date myself here, but when they had Mike Bibby, the Wildcats University of Arizona won that national championship in basketball. I was all in. Jake Plummer, he played at Arizona State, put them on the map as a quarterback. Played some good years in the NFL. I think he got to play for Phoenix for a little while. When they were the Phoenix Cardinals, not the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's how it was. Yeah, man, I'm pretty familiar with Arizona. It was on my list to retire to, so I may end up there. But I gotta go see Flagstaff now, man. You got me. I want to see that pine forest. I'm a tree dude. Like I love trees. I would love to go check that out. So you got me. Nice. And hopefully we got some of these listeners. We're already going to be Googling Yellow Bird, that cadence. You got us Googling a lot of stuff off of this. That's great. These are some of the things I knew we were looking forward to. When you got to college, what did you decide to major in?
So I decided to major in electrical engineering. I decided that when I was in high school. So we had like an engineering, 4-year track, and there was like your introduction to engineering, which is your freshman year. And then there's 2 more classes, which were digital design and engineering, like a physics class. And then last year was like a capstone, right? So when I took my digital design engineering class, I want to say my sophomore year, I was like, this is fun. I enjoy doing this. I'm good at it. I want to keep doing that. So I joined a program in high school. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think it was might have been called Jumpstart or something. But basically there was a deal with our high school and the local community college that you can take community college classes at Cochise College for free. And you would also get high school credit. So you get dual credit. So my junior and senior year, I would take my first 3 classes at the high school, and then I would go over and walk to the Cochise College because it was like a 10-minute walk. And I would take, like your math, your physics, a couple engineering classes. And I was like, you know what? I still enjoy doing this at the college level. And so when I went to NAU, I was like, I want to be an electrical engineer. I loved, studying this while I was in high school. And I did. I loved it. It was great.
Wow. All right. Electrical engineering. You're not allowed to graduate with like a 4.0, right? Like this kicked your butt. Am I right? Was it tough?
Some classes were tougher than others. I think I did pretty well. I graduated with a 3.4 GPA.
Yeah. Well done, sir.
My hardest class was, I think, my fall semester senior year. We were taking like a signals, like communications class. I had no idea what was going on. I got like 60s and high 50s on like all 3 exams. I had homeworks. I just like stopped turning in the homework because I was just, oh no, I would get a 15.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just not going to do the work. I'm only going to lose 15 points. But I saved myself so much mental trouble. And then I talked to the professor at the end of not at the end, but like towards the end, I was like, excuse me, professor. I forget what her name was, but I was like, excuse me, professor. So like, I'm not doing well. Can you give me an extra credit opportunity? And she's like, okay, like write a research paper on a topic. And so I wrote a research paper, very crude. It was like, it probably wouldn't hold up to like a lot of academic standards. And I turned that in, and that was just enough to get me a D in the class. And because it was an elective and not a required engineering course, they allow 2 Ds on the transcript.
Hey, nothing wrong. I mean, I didn't set the world on fire myself, so I am not one to judge. And bro, you still get a 3.4 and electrical engineering degree. And I think I'd be wearing it. I wouldn't be wearing this T-shirt. I'd have, I'm smarter than you, right? Like, I guess I'd start there. You seem to be a little more humble than me, though. All right. So when that is done, very curious here. Like, I hear here in Austin, there are students at the University of Texas. I don't know if they're electrical engineering. I think they're computer science. Sorry if you're going to yell at me that they're not the same. But I hear they can't even graduate. They get job offers sophomore year, double figures, closer to 6-figure job offers, and they leave. Were there offers thrown at you with that electrical engineering?
No, not really. Mainly because, and electrical engineering and computer science are very different things. Just throw it out there. Think of electrical engineering dealing a lot more with like the hardware of the stuff that makes computers run. Computer science is more software. Now that they don't overlap, it's just they have a focus on different things, and that's why most universities have different departments that handle each of the degrees. But even if I did get offers, I'd probably say no. I was doing ROTC, right? So I already had a guaranteed job after college. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to college. I'm gonna graduate. I'm a commission. And I'm not gonna worry about it.
So let's go to a whole different direction here. All right. So you said that you've done some traveling. It sounds like you get some opportunities. I call it couch surfing. There's like, I've gone to Chicago, I think I don't know, let's give me 10 to 12 times since 2008. And I've never paid for a hotel intentionally. Maybe once I did, but I can always couch surf. I got some good friends in there. I want to know, of all the places here in America, where's your favorite place to visit?
Of all the places, my favorite place to visit? I mean, I feel like I've hit this place too many times, but it's Flagstaff. Like every winter, I go to Flagstaff every winter. I hang out my friend's place. They always offer their house, and I just stay there for like 2 to 3 weeks, hanging out with them, doing stuff in general. And I graduated college in 2019. I've never missed a winter where I don't go back to Flagstaff. That's like my winter vacation.
Yeah. Wait a minute. And I know you said when the snow comes, because you're going to Flagstaff in the winter, You said when the snow comes, you're looking out the window, but they live there year round. That doesn't mean they're like you. They don't try to get you out into the snow.
Oh, no, they do. That's the only reason I do outside stuff is because they're like, hey, Cap, come on out. We're going to Snowball, and you got to come. And I was like, oh, but, I don't have skis. I'm like, it's okay. They have ski rentals. Like, I don't have skiing gear. Like, it's okay. You can borrow some of our skiing gear. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, hey, we're going on a hike on Wednesday. And they're like, do you want to come? I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be awake. It's like, oh, no, don't worry. We'll go a little later to make sure you get some sleep. And I was like,
oh, man.
Well, what about a backpack and snacks? Like, oh, I'll pack snacks for you. Don't worry. It'll be fine. I was like, oh, okay. That's fine.
Got him.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, you said something there, and I was going to get to it, but I gotta go to it now. So they call you Cap. Bro, that last name, that doesn't sound like someone from the island would have. It sounds like an Italian last name. Capestany? Can you help us with that? Do you know the background?
Yes. So Capestany comes from my dad. And if you trace our lineage back far enough, we come from the island of I forget. It's the island right outside of Italy, but it's owned by France now. I'm trying to remember. It started with a C.
Yeah, not Cordova.
Let me see if I can look it up real quick.
Corrado?
Corsica. It's Corsica.
Corsica. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So our family family name comes from the island of Corsica, which even though it's a French territory now, famously Napoleon was exiled there. It's also really close to Italy. So that's where Capestany come from. So I got it from my dad. He got it from his dad. And if you trace that back far enough, it'll go back to Corsica.
It doesn't sound popular. I think you're the only person I've ever known, seen, heard. Have you come across it? Is it a popular last name?
I have never come across a Capestany in person. Sometimes on social media, I'll see another person with the last name Capestany. Almost always they're like Puerto Rican or something. So
really?
Yeah, usually they have some sort of ties to Puerto Rico. So there's not a lot of us. It's not a very common Puerto Rican name. I'm just stating that out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are Puerto Rican from what I've seen.
Wait a minute. Were there some tax breaks for the Italians that came from Corsica and like, hey, come to this this Caribbean island and we'll give you 20 acres? Like, I don't know, man. What happened there?
No idea why.
What?
Makes an interesting story, though.
How far back, though? So it's your dad's side. Like, were his parents on Puerto Rico, or was he the first to Puerto Rico?
No. It's we Puerto Rico for a few generations. Like I know my great grandfather. I know like the grandfather from my dad's side was still Puerto Rican. So
okay.
I don't know much more than that. Maybe he was the first one. I don't know. Maybe his dad was, but that's the most I know.
All right. You said that you go to gaming competitions. I have a ton of questions. I just want to start here. How do I know that I'm a good gamer? What's the criteria to say, man, you're good, you should be in a competition? How do you get there?
So the thing with a lot of these gaming competitions actually is that like it is pretty much open to everybody. Anybody can sign up and play. So a lot of people do it just for fun and to see where they rank, right? So there's not like you have to be this good in order to sign up for the competition. Okay. Anybody can sign up, but because there's usually like hundreds, sometimes even thousands of people, generally you'll see the same people up top because you're like, oh, those are the really good players. Because anytime they go to a competition, you'll see them at the very end of the competition. But I would say a majority of the people that go to gaming competitions, like they're average players. Like they just want to try and see how far they can go.
Yeah. What are you? Are you average, below average, above average? Where are you at?
It depends on the game. So for your first person shooters, I would consider myself not that good. So
okay.
Like your Call of Duty, your Fortnite, I would not consider myself that good. I excel, or like I'm really good at the strategy games, that don't really require like a real time reaction component to the gameplay. So where I'm allowed to think about what to do next and take my turn, and you have done your turn, I do my turn. I'm going to lay out all my options, and I'm going to figure out what to do from there. So like strategy games, not live action, I should say.
Yeah. So when you're at a gaming competition, do you make the decision? You're saying, okay, I'm going to go to this one in, I don't know, it popped in my head. I'm going to one in Phoenix. I'm going to do a shooter, or no, I'm going to do strategy, or maybe I'll do simultaneous membership. Like how does that work? Registration or?
So it pretty much always is like a lot of gaming competitions, they're based on the game, right? So you just have to find a competition that is being held somewhere that is for the game you're interested in. So there are big conventions that hold multiple gaming competitions. Other times it's just the one game. So if there is, for example, a Magic the Gathering competition, right? You're only ever going to see Magic the Gathering when you go there. It's going to be a huge, huge stadium. You're not going to find any other game to play there because it is solely for the purpose of Magic the Gathering. And same thing for some other games that I play. Those competitions are generally just for that game. So I'm not going to a place and be like, oh, which game I'm going to sign up for is I want to play this game. When's the next location or the next event where I can play this game at?
Okay, so there's gaming competitions, and then I was going to ask you about gaming conventions. When it comes to gaming competitions, is there one competition in particular that, man, you just know, okay, there's one or two every year. I got to go to this one because it's popular, or do you take it on a case-by-case basis?
So the one I go to a lot, so the main game I play right now is Warhammer 40,000, the tabletop version specifically.
Yeah.
There is one I've been wanting to go to for a really long time now, which is the Las Vegas Open, but it just has never worked out because of like work schedules.
Yeah.
The one that I've gone to almost consistently is the Lone Star Open, which is held in Dallas, right? So that one's pretty close. I don't have to take a lot out of work or whatever to go to it, and so I can attend to it. And it's like a 3-day event up in Dallas.
Yeah.
Like competitions, and it's a lot of fun. So whenever there are big competitions in the state of Texas, I was like, I gotta go. One day I'll go to the Las Vegas one because that one's a really nice event in Las Vegas, which is fun.
Yes. So what's a gaming convention? Just so curious on what that is. It doesn't sound, I mean, I know you said that a gaming competition could be at a convention, but what's a convention?
So a convention is basically, and it depends, right, on who's hosting the convention. Usually there's like a theme. Imagine it's a bunch of different things from that particular industry coming together. You have, companies that are trying to advertise their game to people, selling merchandise, people who enjoy these games, trying to meet up with other people who enjoy the games, trying to get, exclusive stuff. The one I went to in November was for BlizzCon, which is for all the Blizzard games. So that's like World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and they rent out the Anaheim Convention Center. So imagine it's just like 4 giant convention halls purely dedicated to Blizzard gaming, and stuff you can do in there is like you can play test some of the new stuff coming out. You can buy some of the merch that's exclusive to there. You can buy some of our product. You can hang out with people. There's food. There's announcements. Usually there are very popular announcements where people are announcing what's coming up. So like we're announcing a new game because the people running these conventions know that there's going to be a lot of people here to watch these new announcements.
I know that you are a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons. Did the streets whisper that to me correctly?
I am a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons.
Very cool. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I learned about it in high school. Study hall. I wasn't doing no studying, but we had a bunch of guys that were playing. And I was just curious, like, yo, what y'all doing? And they invited me to sit down. They were like, hey, be a cleric. I don't know if it was out of a joke, but I loved it. I played once or twice after, and I always asked to be a cleric because I love it. But curious here, why are you a dungeon master? Like I don't think I would want to be one. So what makes a guy want to be a dungeon master?
So when I first played D&D was a few years back. I want to say 2022, right? Because I was always interested, and some of my friends played. And a bunch of us started saying, "Oh, we want to play. There's no way to play." And like, let's just all play together. Someone else offered to be the DM, and I was just a player, and I enjoyed it. So we played that for a few months, and towards the end of that, campaign or session we were doing, I was saying, "Hey, I saw this cool, interesting story that I want to run." So for me, I was like, I found this cool source book. It has a very cool story in there, and I want to be able to sort of play this story out with you guys. And so I will volunteer to run the session because I think it's going to be a fun setting. It involved dragons and it involved dungeons. And I was like, what else can you ask for?
You got me.
They all agreed. So, and so we've been playing that one for, I think, almost 2 years at that point. We played.
Whoa. Hold on, sir. This is new information to me. I don't know how long we did that. Maybe in the semester, maybe in the school year. Did you say a campaign? Maybe it's called a session. It's been years for me. You could go one for 2 years?
Yeah, we're not close to finishing too. So
what?
So we actually play more often than D&D players usually play. We play once a week, which is much more than probably the average person plays D&D. So every Thursday, we play online since we're spread out across the globe, right? So we play online. There's like a website you go to, and we can all interact on there. And so every Thursday we play, or mostly every Thursday. Sometimes stuff comes up and we have to skip a week or two. And so we've just been playing every Thursday, probably for about 3 hours. And we're just running through the story, and we're not done yet. So the story ends when they're around like level 15 or so. They're currently at level 11, so they still got some more time to get there.
Yeah. All right. D&D. First of all, I want to know, you kind of said it. How often so if you guys are a little more regular than most people, how often do virtual, remote, whatever you call it, how often do normal people play then?
From what I've seen and people talk about, some people play D&D like once every 2 weeks or once a month, right?
Yeah.
But usually when they play it, they have a much longer specific session. So they while I may play a week and it lasts for 3 hours, they might play every 2 weeks or once a month, but they play for like 8 hours. It's like all they do that day, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that brings me to the next point. What character do you like to play when you're not DM?
I've been a DM for a very, very long time now. But recently I got to be a player. Someone else offered to start a campaign, and I was like, sure, I'll play. It turns out, based on the characters that I have played or made, turns out I prefer ranged characters, and they're jokey in some sort, where they're not entirely serious. I think the first time I played, I created a bard who was an actor, and his name was Mark Wahlberg. So I was just role playing as Mark Wahlberg in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And then the other one I was playing was a slime. He's just like a slime man. So not the most serious of character concepts, but fun nonetheless.
Now, if I'm in this group, I mean, clearly I like the game, but I feel like, man, I'm going to have so much pressure. Like, I have to show up on this Thursday. What if I can't make it? And I don't even know how many people, let's say there's 7 of us, if I can't make it, none of us can do anything that night?
It depends on. So in D&D, there's something commonly called session 0, where it's like the very first session you guys have, and that's where you lay out the rules of like how you guys are going to be playing the game, right? It's like, I'm playing this character, I'm not allowed to do this. We're not going to be touching the story concept, or maybe someone has like a phobia of spiders. I'm like, okay, like we won't bring up spiders in this game, right? And the dungeon master can explain sort of their expectations. For me personally, the way I handle it is my party is 5 people, right?
Yeah.
So if one person can't show up, that's fine. We're just going to run without them. And their character would just be like background robot noises that I control, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's 2 people missing, I'll probably tend towards like canceling the session. But it also depends like how big, right? I also have another session campaign where it's like, it was like 7 players, right? So if 2 people are missing, I'm still okay with running that, right? Because the majority of the players are there. And I also like to do. People want to cancel things, and like, oh, I can't do this all of a sudden. Like, you can't let them, because if you do that, they're gonna keep canceling, and it's gonna snowball, and it's not gonna be good. You got to be firm. You got to be like, okay, in 2 days we are playing. And I will message everyone individually. Are you going to be there? And they're like, yes, 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 no. I'm like, okay, no. Why? Can you come late anyway? All right. I'm like, and then like, that's it. And then you just got to make sure you got to like, the analogy I used before is like, you got to drag them by the collar. Like, you will show up, because if you stop showing up, you will never show up again. So,
yeah. What was the I don't want to say spinoff or the little brother to Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering? Was that?
So you're gonna make a lot of people very angry if you say that. So
Uh-oh.
They are not related in any way whatsoever.
What? Oh,
they're only similar in the sense that they're owned by the same company, Wizards of the Coast. They both make Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. Gameplay wise, story wise, where they started from wise, they are 2 very different things. They're not related at all.
Well, now I'm curious, because I think I have an understanding of Dungeons and Dragons, even from the few times. Okay, but I know nothing about Magic. Okay, I'll get into it. See, you just gave us another thing to Google and check out. I'll get into it. So do you dabble, or you're strictly a D&D guy?
So I do play Magic the Gathering. I played Magic the Gathering first, actually. It was like my whole into gaming thing that I started seriously was, so I played World of Warcraft for a long time, but you can't really call that like a competitive game. But then they came out with another game called Hearthstone, which is a competitive card game made by the same company. And that was really fun, but it's all digital, right? So a friend of mine got me into Magic the Gathering because like it's also another competitive card game, but it's physical. You play it in person. And so that's what I played most of college, was Magic the Gathering. And when I went to competitions, it was for Magic the Gathering competitions. Like I would go to Grand Prix. I think they call them like Magic Fest now, or Magic Cons. They changed the name based on like the company that runs them.
Yeah.
And then a friend, after I graduated college, but before I went off to do like army things or whatever, he got me into Warhammer, and I was like, this is also a lot of fun. I'm gonna do that instead. But yeah, I dabble in Magic the Gathering. It's a lot of fun. I still play it. I don't play competitively anymore. Like I don't play the formats where you go around competing in like these 1,000-player competitions or whatever. But I do have decks where it's like, if I visit a friend and they want to play Magic, Commander, like this term doesn't really mean a lot to you, but that's like the most party/social format how to play the game is, because you can play like with 4 people.
Oh, okay. A gaming convention. I've never been, so I don't mind. I'm a little sheepish here in asking, but hey, I messed up D&D and Magic, and I lost all your people that are listening and watching. But I just got to know, like, at a gaming convention, are there any cosplay vibes there?
Yes.
I'm not saying it's a Comic-Con, but I'm just kind of curious. I've never
Pretty
been.
much every single gaming convention / gaming competition I've been to has cosplayers of all sorts.
Oh,
Pretty much every single one I've been to, there are always people that are dressed up in elaborate costumes, or they're just wearing not elaborate costumes, but like they're still wearing like memorabilia or items that you'd be like, oh, this person's holding a book, and it's the book from this game or from this card or whatever. So it's pretty much, yeah. I don't think I've been to one gaming convention or gaming competition where someone wasn't dressed up, and it's actually a big part because sometimes these companies actually will go hire known people that are cosplayers to do and come to the event in a cosplay of something from their game, because they usually have a lot of social media followings. Some of these places also have cosplay competitions where they, show off some of the great fan stuff. And some of these, creations that these creators make is like really outstanding. Like you don't realize like the detail they put into it until you're up close.
Would you, or have you ever dressed up?
The only time I ever dressed up was, and I didn't really dress up. So when I went to BlizzCon, they had a thing called March of the Murlocs, and Murlocs are like these like weird like fish people creatures in the game. They're usually like considered cute or whatever. So they also sold Murloc onesies as well. And I just bought one because I was like, it seems fun. I'll buy one. And then they announced that they're doing the March of the Murlocs. For like anybody who is dressed like a Murloc, come. We're gonna take a video of you guys like running in front of the convention center and standing in front of the pool. So I did that. I was like, okay. So I got in my Murloc onesie. I did the thing. We got a big picture. It was very hot, so I didn't stay in it for much longer. But that was my only time I like dressed up, and that was only for that one day.
Would you dress up in the future? It's not really your thing.
I would. It's just the thing is like I don't really have something to wear. Like I would not be against the idea of like cosplaying, but like I would need to make it, or I would need to pay someone else to make something for me, and I'm more so out of laziness not going to do that. But if someone's like, here is a perfectly cosplay costume right here, wear it. I'm like, sure, I'll wear it. I don't mind. I love it.
Yeah. Comic-Con. There's going to be one in Austin, Cedar Park. Well, would you go? Like, are there characters, games that came from comic books and they made a game? It was like, does any of that draw vibes for you, a Comic-Con?
I haven't been to a Comic-Con, mainly so out of like I just like it always came up on like bad timing. I can't go, so I'll have to take a look at it. Like if it's available and I can go, like sure, just to hang around, because it's just fun seeing like, oh, they have these cool stuff, and maybe you find something that you weren't expecting, like an old game, or there's like a really cool thing from a game you like. I'm like, oh, that's cool, I want to buy it.
Yeah,
so I'd totally be down to go. It's pretty fun.
Jose, this was awesome, man. We were up against our time. And I know I didn't get to everything, but I got some great clips here. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you. Thanks for coming on. This is exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I know our listeners, I don't say I hope, I know our listeners are gonna dig this. What's your social media following like? Is there anything you'd like to drop for us to stay in tune, or you're off social media? You're more of a private guy. What's that for you?
I wouldn't say I'm off social media, but I'm not on social media. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like, I don't really interact with social media a lot. Like, yeah, I have an Instagram. I have a Snapchat. I have a Facebook, but I don't think they really use Facebook anymore. But like,
not really.
I don't really do much. I mainly use it to look at other people I know. I don't really post, so no shout out to any of my social medias. But if you do find it and you do want to follow me, sure. I'm not gonna tell you, but if you find me, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Hey, was there anything else that before we go that you did want to talk about, that you wanted to mention that we didn't get to?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I enjoy. It's fun talking about the games that I enjoy. Like a lot of the people I work with, I don't always share the same interests, so it's just nice talking about it.
Then I want to finish with my last question. Then,
all right.
I didn't get to everything, but let me just finish with this one. All right, Jose Capestany, I have a jet because I am a huge podcaster, and I've got millions of dollars, not a billion yet, but I'm rich, dude. I got a Lear jet. I'm gonna gas it up, and I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm gonna say you could go to Las Vegas or anywhere else you want. Where are you going?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Las Vegas is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It depends on who I'm with. If I am by myself, I don't know, I'll still probably go to Vegas too. Yeah, I'm just going to go to Vegas. I go to Vegas. If I have friends, it's even better. If not, I'm just chilling in Vegas.
Yeah.
Which is fun if you've never tried it.
No, it's funny you say that. I've asked that question. I mean, we're 178 episodes in. I've asked it, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 times. Maybe. I don't even think that many. No one's ever said that. And now I got to figure out if I'll allow people to take people on my jet or if you're going to have to go solo dolo. Okay. Thank you for that. You just got me there.
It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm going to Vegas. So
but no problem. Enjoy the trip. Man, this was great, Jose. Thank you very much. You're a very interesting guy. I knew it. I just want to share it with others. And have a great rest of the day, man. Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun coming on.
All right. See ya.
See you.